Hey, what's going on, guys? Godstatus here. Welcome to episode 9 of the rank 0 to 100 series. This is going to be a huge one. We went all the way from rank 60 to 70 in just one episode. There was a ton of levels gained, a ton of guns used, and it's also the funny episode where we had to use the Zip 22 and the BFG. Unfortunately, I did somehow manage to delete my footage for the MC51 SD, so in the background, you're going to be seeing me playing on my alt account. I apologize for that, but nonetheless, my opinions on the gun still stand. As for all you guys watching out there, if you have been enjoying the videos, please think about hitting that subscribe button. It really helps me out, and also think about liking the video to help push me to recommend it and get some new people to the channel so that they can enjoy the series just as much as you. But with all that said, let's hop right into this. Starting off, we had the MC51 SD, a really powerful kind of headshot machine gun, or at least that's what I'd like to call it. It has a really slow fire rate, but it has a decent amount of damage, being able to 3-shot to the body up to around maybe 30 studs. Not that super powerful, but when you think about it, at close range, you're also able to 2-shot headshot. While the gun does eventually fall off to a 3-shot and a 4-shot, it has a decent bit of power, but like I said, that fire rate really draws you back. I personally feel as though other ARs, there's guns that, you know, have 600, 700, maybe even 800 fire rate are just better overall. On the flip side, though, it is really enjoyable to use. I don't think that there's many real benefits to it unless you can really hit those headshots. The gun as a whole, in my eyes, is much more of a for fun gun. I don't really recommend using this if you're really trying to go for, you know, a super high kill game, or if you're trying to improve in any way. If you just want to have a good time, then yeah, this gun is definitely one that you could choose. Outside of that, nothing really special. It only has 20 rounds in a mag, which is kind of crappy considering that it is a carbine, and I mean, I guess it has high damage close range, but if your focus is to go ahead and try to get really high kill games or use a really strong gun that just gives you the edge over other players, this is not going to be your pick. I would still recommend going with a plethora of other guns. Some of them we'll be showcasing later in this episode. Oh boys, the moment a lot of you guys have been waiting for, the Zip 22 on Roblox Phantom Forces PC edition. I looked at this gun and I said, wow, this is not going to be enjoyable. So I just didn't use it. I went ahead and I XP farmed the entire level. Nah, I'm just joking, guys, but on a real, the gun wasn't too terrible to use. It really just took a lot of time. Getting 62,000 or 63,000, whatever amount of XP it was with this gun, just took a really long time. There's no other way to put it. I could only get so many kills per minute. There's only so much damage I can do. It was okay, honestly. I learned to really just hone in on those headshots and just pray for the best. And also, if you add certain attachments to the Zip, it makes the gun like 4 times its size, which I just found hilarious. But it wasn't terrible. Obviously, I don't recommend this gun to anyone. It's not a gun that you would use to improve at the game. It's definitely not a gun you use if you want to do good at the game. It is absolutely the worst thing. It's the worst secondary. It is in no way, shape, or form worth anybody's time to even look at the gun. Nonetheless, equip it and think that you're going to do something special with it. Other than trolling around with friends, don't touch the gun. That's really all I can say. I had a few little feeds here and there. I think I maybe got like 1 quad kill, and I was so excited about that. I remember just absolutely bragging about it. Like, whenever I record these videos, I usually use my voice to mark down points. So, like, if I get a feed, I'll say something just so I have a little audio cue in the video to go back and look for. Man, I was like jumping for joy when I got the quad kill, or even got my first like triple kill with it. It was a proud moment. I had fun using the gun. I obviously won't be using it outside of this video unless it's for like meme purposes, but hey, who knows? Rank 0 to 100 using only a Zip at one point might happen. I actually do not get your hopes up. There's not a chance. You couldn't pay me to do that. I also want to give a quick shout out to a guy named Pookie. He was streaming while I was using the Zip 22 and dropped 120 kills. So twitch.tv/Pookie_I. Extremely nice dude. Really awesome stream. Definitely one of the more entertaining streamers out there. Please go give him a look. He really deserves it. And I would love to show him all the support that we can. Tell him I sent you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have the almighty Honey Badger, the gun that has been popularized by people like Sin, like Petrified TV, a gun that has just been in the spotlight for a really long time, but is it actually anything good? Let's talk about it. The base Honey Badger is at most a 4-shot, and then it drops off to a 5-shot at range. Honestly, the gun is overall a pretty standard gun. It doesn't have any super redeeming qualities other than the fact that it sounds really good. It's not anything really to brag about. While I do really enjoy the gun and it's probably one of my favorite for fun guns in the game, I don't think that it's anything super crazy. It's been popularized and talked about a lot, but it really doesn't do anything too much. While I'm not trying to say the gun is bad in any means, it's definitely far from the strongest, but it does have a lot of good things about it. It has a pretty good accuracy. It's not that hard to get attachments for, and you also don't even really need a barrel attachment, even though you can add them now ever since like a recent update. I personally like the sound of the gun, so I never use something like a compensator or a muzzle brake, and I also don't think it's super necessary because the recoil isn't that bad. You're going to want to be using this gun at close to medium range anyways. Going for anything long range just isn't really worth your time. Definitely pick another gun for that. When using this gun, it handles the best in close range in my opinion. Even though it doesn't have the highest damage, that's just where the gun will simply shine. I was using something like a delta sight or a mini sight, and then usually like a folding grip or like an angle grip. If you guys have heard me talk about this gun in the past, I've always said that I never really use the sight because this is one of the iron sights that I actually really enjoy. However, while we're doing this series, the whole point of it is for me to test out things that I don't usually use, so I threw on a sight and I had a lot more fun with it. While the iron sight is still usually my go-to, I don't obviously, push people away from using a sight on the gun. Use whatever you want. But again, the gun didn't do anything out of the ordinary. It performed exactly how I expected it to, and how you guys should expect it to. It's an average gun at best. Don't expect anything too much, but if you want to have a lot of fun and use a really awesome sounding gun, this is definitely going to be your go-to pick. It has decent fire rate, it has an okay accuracy, and it has a really standard amount of bullets to kill. A pretty awesome average gun. Next, we go ahead and spring into my favorite topic of another shotgun. We were using the Sega 12, which this is by no means the most powerful shotgun out there, and surprisingly, I actually think this gun underperformed in a sense compared to what I'm really used to. This was nowhere near as powerful as the KS-23M. It was obviously more powerful than your other semi-autos or kind of autos like the AA-12. The gun did pretty decent. I was able to one-shot people sometimes at like 80, maybe 85 studs, slightly a little too far for my personal liking, but I don't think that it was anything too crazy where you have things like the KS-23M one-shotting at double that range. Although obviously one is a lot slower shooting while this one is, a little bit quicker and has more ammo, blah blah blah, but if they drop this gun to be an effective range more of like 60-65 studs instead of like 80-85, I think that would be a lot more beneficial, and I think people would enjoy that balance of it a little bit more. Granted, understand I do have a little bit of bias with shotguns. I'm trying to be a bit fair with them when I talk about them, but it's hard for me sometimes. I really don't like them all the time. Like I said, close to medium range, the gun really does excel. It doesn't shoot anywhere near like a KS-23M. I also didn't have anything like ammo types to try out because I can't purchase them, and there's obviously no way I'm getting a few hundred to a few thousand kills to unlock those. So I used what I was able to, and I thought the gun performed okay. It could use a little bit of tweaking in my opinion, but it definitely doesn't need anything super drastic. The gun's in an okay-ish spot, dare I say. I wasn't too super upset using it. I didn't have moments where I would like, the KS-23M where I was like, wow, this is just not enjoyable because of how busted it is. I think it's all right. I'm probably gonna regret those words, but that's where I stand on this gun currently. The HK416 is a gun that I really enjoy bringing up to people and have always kind of hyped up ever since the gun's release. It does okay damage while not being too overpowered, and its fire rate really helps the gun out while also having a little bit of recoil to balance things out as a whole. I think this was definitely one of the releases into the game that came out really good and hasn't needed any real tweaking. A solid production gun, but let's talk about why that is. So the gun is able to 4-shot at most ranges. It does drop down to a 5-shot, but that's at really far, at over 80 studs. So close range from 0 to about maybe 85-90 studs, you have a pretty decent gun. It has that 4-shot average, but it also has that higher fire rate of 850 rounds per minute. The gun does rock a normal standard 1.4 headshot multiplier, meaning you could 3-shot headshot in that 80 studs as well, which helps you out quite a lot. Or you could just do 1 headshot and 2 body shots. With the gun having a little bit of vertical and horizontal recoil, there's a lot of times where you're going to hit the chest and then jump up to the head and go back down to the chest while trying to control the recoil, so it works out pretty well for you. The gun is honestly one of my favorite guns in the game. I absolutely love it. I think that the fact that it has horizontal recoil to it makes it really enjoyable. A lot of guns, in my opinion, lack that for the longest time. Most of these guns in this game, you just pull down a little bit and you're all right. This one, I feel like, emphasized that horizontal recoil a lot more than other ARs in the game, so I thought it was really nice to have. This is one of the few guns that are added to the game where I really didn't have much negative to say about it, which is surprising because you guys know I like to nitpick quite a lot. I would highly recommend this gun to anyone if you want something that pushes you a little bit while still rewarding you quite a lot. You're not going to have too many struggles with this gun, and you could even throw on things like armor piercing. I don't think it will even affect it all that much. Again, I didn't have any ammo attachments throughout this series, so this is just something that I'm discussing. I definitely think that this is the way to go. This is one of the better ARs in the game, holds its own in any category. While it has that really high rate of fire, helps you out a lot in those close range gunfights. It's kind of similar to a honey badger in a sense. The more I look at it, yeah, it really does resemble a honey badger. However, the recoil pattern is obviously a little bit different. Really solid gun overall. It's a little bit above average for an assault rifle, but it isn't anything that you're going to use and just immediately dominate with. Really fun gun, really solid gun, would definitely give it a shot. Another one of the legendary rank 60 plus funny guns, the BFG. I don't have much to say about this gun, you guys mostly know how I feel about it, but let's just reiterate it for those who are new here. The BFG is very much a crutch weapon. Do not spend your credits on this gun, period. I know it's tempting because you see a one-shot sniper and oh, it's awesome. I did the exact same thing. I was a low rank and I bought this gun and I immediately regretted it. Having one bullet, you know, in your head, you're like, oh, that's not too bad, but it's just not as fun as you think it is. It's just bad. The gun is only really good at annoying people. Anything past that, you won't really have too much fun with it. I don't think that it has any real usability to it other than like trick shotting it. I mean, if that's something you're into, then sure, by all means, go for it. By far, one of the worst snipers you could possibly use. You can obviously get more kills using any other sniper in the game at this point. It's kind of just there. I mean, I had some fun with it. It just took a really long time. You can only get kills so fast. It's what, like a 3-second reload or something, a little bit higher. It takes so long to really get a good amount of kills. Unless you're trying to annoy people or you're trying to be funny or you're trying to trick shot, don't waste your time on the sniper. You can do something much better. If you really want something this powerful, save up for the Heckade or the M107. Those are much better choices. This gun is just not worth it for you. Save your money. Don't be like the other kids. Don't be like me who, you know, saw this gun and was like, wow, I really want a gun that can one shot, because you will regret it. You will not be able to get those credits back and you're going to just be sad. Nonetheless, we got some kills with it. We got a few collaterals. No triple collats, no quad collats or anything like that. Stay away from the gun. You'll appreciate it later. So if you guys didn't see the 156 kill game that I uploaded with the MP10, I highly recommend you go watch it. We went on an absolute tear with this gun. The fun part about this gun is that it really isn't anything all that special, but for some reason it just seems to play so well. It's hilarious because things like the Honey Badger and even the HK416 perform at just the same range as this, if not better, and it really isn't anything super crazy. I don't know why. I've always considered this one of the top tier SMGs. By no means is it as strong as like a Vector or like an M231 or anything like that, but it still has a special place in my heart. The gun does 29 to 23 damage, being able to 4-shot up to about 80 studs. If you throw a hollow point, this thing can actually 3-shot up to, I believe, maybe 50 or 60 studs. I know it's been updated, so it might be lower or a little bit higher. I apologize if I'm incorrect on that, but hollow point on the MP10 is really strong. I remember talking about that in a video a while ago, and I think even Oscar made a video talking about it a while ago as well. As with most SMGs, this thing can 3-shot headshot up close range, up to that 80 stud range, actually. So with the low recoil of this gun, if you're able to hit headshots, it's going to be pretty dominant. Has a really fast reload time at 2.7 seconds. Overall, just a well-rounded SMG. It performs at a pretty decent range. Fighting at medium range with this isn't that bad because it only drops off to a 5-shot, while a lot of SMGs out there can drop to about 6. Not to mention that this holds this 4-shot up to 80 studs, and if I'm not mistaken, this is definitely one of the furthest range SMGs to hold that damage. Really solid. Like I said, on a very general level, this gun is nothing special, but it just, every time I use it, man, I feel so much more powerful than what you actually are, and I just absolutely love the gun. Please give it a try. I promise you will not regret it. So the HK21 is something that I'm actually kind of interested to talk about. When this gun first came out, I had a lot of negative things to say about it. The recoil was just bonkers. I didn't enjoy the gun whatsoever, and I thought it was a complete flop. But using this recently, I've been kind of enlightened in a sense. The gun is extremely powerful. It can 2-shot headshot up to 80 studs, a similar range like the MP10 we just discussed. And this gun, for the first maybe 5 shots-ish, is actually really accurate. You don't get that really random recoil for quite some time, and when you do, you can just stop shooting and just go back to kind of bursting the gun. While the gun does have an actual burst feature, I wouldn't really recommend using it. Shooting in bursts with the auto version is my personal preference. However, outside of that, let's just discuss the damage overall. It's a 3-shot as well to the body up to 80 studs, and then it drops off to a 4-shot at all ranges, which is still really good. And with that initial accuracy, you can usually just burst those 4 shots right away. You'll see me fighting at a little bit of range in this video, and there is times where I just kind of spray and pray, but for the most part, you just can hold your own, just, you know, bursting it. I'm honestly really surprised at how well this gun performed, and I kind of feel bad for ragging on it as much as I did in the past. Granted, when I did rag on it, it was kind of necessary and deserved, but as the gun's been updated, it's been really refined, and I actually had a lot of fun using this. Would I use this over something like, let's say, the AUG H-Bar or, you know, the RPKs? Probably not. Maybe in a really close range map like Metro or Warehouse, yeah, it can do really well. For distance, you still want to stick with those more accurate LMGs, the LH6, H-Bar, RPKs, blah, blah, blah. Basically any other LMG. honestly. But for, you know, what it was worth, the gun I had a lot of fun with. Would I recommend buying it? Probably not. I wouldn't, you know, waste the credits on it. But using the gun when you unlock it, sure, definitely give it a try. I personally loved using the alternate aim by pressing T, like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, but that's just my opinion. I think if you guys want to try it out that way, feel free. I'm not 100% sure the best attachments on this. I think I should use something like a muzzle brake folding, but I'm sure there's a better setup out there. If you guys want to do a quick YouTube search, I'm sure some of the other awesome content creators have given some advice on it. The micro Uzi was another one that kind of surprised me. I struggled with this gun a little bit in the beginning. I had to take some time to get used to that initial recoil, which, to be honest, I should have just realized that it would happen and kind of expected it, but I just didn't. I don't know why. It took me some time to adjust, and when I did, I actually kind of enjoyed it. As far as secondary pistols go, this is still most definitely not my top pick. I love my Tech 9, and I might actually still prefer the G18 with extended mag over this potentially. Dude, it's been so long since I've used the G18 compared to like the micro Uzi, I honestly wouldn't know, but it's not a bad pick. I mean, you're welcome to test it out. You don't need to buy attachments for the gun by any means, the same way you don't need attachments for the Tech 9. I mean, you kind of want the extended mag for the G18, but it's not necessary, but you know the point. When I got adjusted to the gun, I was hitting some decent kills, you know, probably 4, 5, sometimes even 6, 7, 8, 9 kills in a row, and we were kind of tearing it up, but it wasn't the same for me. I still would pick the Tech 9 any day of the week, but this is not one to knock either. They all kind of serve their own same niche. They don't really do anything outside of, you know, just blast someone away close range. I think this one was actually a little bit more easy to control than the Tech 9, so at a little bit more distance, this might be your better pick, but I'm still, I'm not too sold on it. Even then, I would still honestly rather just use my Serbu shotgun compared to this thing, but, you know, to each their own. If you want to give it a try, go ahead. Most definitely do not spend credits on this. You have a million other options prior to unlocking this gun, but if you have it and you want something newer, maybe just change it up away from the Tech 9, go ahead. I think it'll be worth giving it a shot. This brings us to our last and final gun of the episode, the SR3M, which I was super excited about because it is just an ASVAL. And as you guys know, I talk up the ASVAL all the time, but this is quite literally just another ASVAL. They're very, very slightly different. The professional Oscar, I mean, he, being the Swedish boy he likes to argue that this gun is better, even though they're essentially the same thing. There's even a suppressor that you unlock at 0 kills with this gun that sounds exactly like the ASVAL. They're almost the same exact things, one's just a higher level. So I mean, if you want something slightly different and apparently a little bit better accuracy according to Oscar, use this gun. But if you just, you know, want to stick to the ASVAL that you've had since rank like 10, stick to that, whatever. It does insanely good at close to medium range. This thing is dominant. It is one of the best guns out there, hands down, and I am 100% confident in saying that. You will never struggle with this gun in my opinion. It has super good accuracy, it has a good fire rate, a good reload time, good damage. It's just an overall monster of a gun. You will absolutely love using it. If you've used the ASVAL and you enjoyed that, again, literally the same thing, except this one doesn't have to be silenced. I don't think the ASVAL actually has to anymore either, unless maybe you can only do that stuff on the honey badger. I don't know. But if you want something that isn't silenced and also sounds pretty cool, the SR3M is definitely the way to go. Again, do not waste your credits on this. You can get the ASVAL for much cheaper, or you probably already have it unlocked. But that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. This one has taken me over 10 hours of recording, so I really do hope you guys liked it. If you did, make sure you do hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know if you made it this far in the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.